You're welcome once again. Today we shall be looking at decimal places. Yes, so what are decimals? Decimals can be defined as simply another form of fraction. Of course, you know that 1/2 is a fraction, 3/4 is a fraction. So if you simplify this further, you're going to have what? 1 divided by 2 is what? 0.5. And 3 divided by 4 will give you 0.75. Now, this form that this answer is written is what we call decimal. It means they are written in decimals. Okay? This 0.5 is also what? In decimals. That is why we said fraction is another form of decimals, or decimals is another form of what? Fraction. Let's take another example. We have 3.142. Now, if you want to read this number and you are now asked to what decimal place is this number written, the answer is very simple. How do you get it? Just count the number of figures immediately afterwards the point. If you count it, you have 1, 2, and 3. You have 1, 2, and what? 3. That means the number is written in what? 3 decimal what? Places. If you watch, I'm using D.P. is a short form of decimal places. Then another method is from the point you count your right 1, 2, 3. You will see that we have 3 decimal places. So the shortest form is to count the number of figures or digits after the point. Let's take another one, 725.1278. You are now asked, to what decimal place is this number written? The answer is what? Simple. How many figures do we have after the point? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So the number is written in what? 4 decimal places. Now, this topic is very, very vital in your O-level mathematics because you come across it in almost all the topics. Most times they'll ask you, leave your answers to 2 decimal places or to 1 decimal place. So that's why this topic is what? Important. Now, let's proceed. Now, let's take a question. Evaluate (272.8531) A to 1 decimal place, B to 2 decimal what? Place, and then C to the nearest whole number. Now, to solve this is very simple. The first answer, A, they said to 1 decimal place, so 272.8531 is equal to what? 272.8 to the first decimal place, because we have just 8 immediately after the point. But this is not correct. This is not what? Correct. Why? I will explain to you. We have a number immediately after the 8, which is what? 5. Now, whenever you have a situation like this, because this number here immediately after the 8 is equal to 5 or greater than 5, what do? You increase the previous number before that number by 1, and you discard the rest. What do I mean by that? Now, because this number here, this 5 here, is up to 5, or if it is greater than 5. So in this case, it's up to 5. So what do? We discard every other thing after the number and we increase the previous number by 1. That means the 8 now becomes what? 9. So to one decimal place, 272.8531 is equal to 272.9 to one decimal what place. Now for the B, 272.8531 is equal to what? 272.8 to 2 decimal place. Why? Because the next number, which is what? 3, is not up to 5. So we just discard it. So we take only the 2 numbers after the decimal point. So that's why we have 272.85. Now let's take the last one. They said to the nearest whole number, 272.8531. To the nearest whole number. So the nearest whole number means we don't need any other figure after the point. So this will now be what? 27. Now, because we have a point here and the number after the point, the digit is 8, is greater than 5. So what do? We discard any other number from that 8 downwards, and then we increase the number before that 8 by 1. So this now becomes what? 273. Okay, so this now becomes 273 to the nearest what? Whole number. So it is as easy as ABCD. We'll solve more examples so that you get the points we are talking about. Now let's look at 0.007304221. Okay. Now you are asked to evaluate to 4 decimal places. What will be the answer? The answer is 0.00, okay, 7.3 to 4 decimal places. If they say evaluate to 6 decimal places, it will be what? 0.0073004. Now we have how many figures or how many digits after the point? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you look at this now, we have 8 digits here. The zeros immediately after the point, they are what? Counted. So we consider the zeros after the point. So that's why we said to 4 decimal places is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. And to 6 decimal places, we said what? Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what we call taking a number to the required number of decimal places. Okay, so like I said, we have 0.007031. To express this to 5 decimal places, it will now be what? 0.00703 to what? 5 decimal places. Why did I say so? I said these 2 zeros here, they are what? Considered. Why? Because we have non-zero digits after them. So they are considered part of what? The 5 decimal places. Now, what about a situation where we have 0.0060310? Now, in this case, this last 0 here will not be considered. why there are no non-zero digits after it. So this can only be expressed as 0.006031 to what? 6 decimal what? Places. Very simple. Let's take a practical case. Evaluate 14.200748. The first question towards 1 decimal place. The second question towards 4 to 4 decimal what? Places. And the last one towards 5 decimal what? Places. Solution. Now, if there's the first one, they say to 1 decimal place. So 14.200748 to 1 decimal place, the answer will be what? 14.2 to 1 decimal place. Don't forget to write this. For the second case, the B, this is for A. For B, what do we have? The answer is going to be what? 14. Let's say to 4 decimal places. It now be 14.200 to 4 decimal places. Now for the last one, the C, they said to 5 decimal places. The answer is going to be what? 14.20075 to 5 what? Decimal places. Now if you look at this first case, they said 14.2 to 1 decimal place. That is the answer. If you move from the decimal points, you only just meet 1 digit there, which is what? 2. So that is correct. For the second one, 14.200748, they said to 4 decimal places. Like I said, whenever the number is equal to or greater than 5, what do? We increase the previous number by 1. So here we have 8, here we have 4 here. So since 8 is greater than 5, what do? We increase the previous number, which is 4, by 1, making it to be what? 5. Now because we have 5 here and the previous number is what? 7, so we need to increase the previous number by 1, making it what? 8. That's why we have 14.2008 to 4 decimal places. Now to 5 decimal places, we know that the last figure here is 8, so we have to increase the previous figure by 1, which is what? 5. Since they said to 5 decimal places, the answer will now be what? 14.20075. As easy as ABCD. So let's consider what we call addition of decimals. Now you need to know all these things. They normally come out in your OBJ, your WASSCE, your NECO. Of course, JAMB is always OBJ, so you need to be conversant with these things. So let's look at this question. Add 3.45 plus 3.251 plus 2.17. Very easy, as easy as what? ABCD. Solution. How do you solve things like this? 3.45, they said 3.251, and then you have 2.17. Very simple. Don't mind the way I'm writing this. You put a plus sign here. Of course, you know that we have an invisible 0 here. We have an invisible 0 here. Remember, all the decimal points must do what? Align. So now 0 plus 1 plus 0 is what? 1. 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 7, 17. Write down 7, carry 1. 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 1, 7. Okay, plus that one is what? 8. You put your points. So 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 2 what? 8. So your final answer is what? 8.871. As easy as what? ABCD. Now for the subtraction, let's say subtract 7.645 minus 2.751. You have to subtract these numbers. Very simple. What do? 7.645. Like I said, make sure all the points are aligned. 2.751. Remember your sign here. So 5 minus 1 is what? 4. 4 minus 5, it cannot. You borrow 1 from 6 and add here, you have 14. 14 minus 5 is what? 9. 5 is left here. You take 1 from 7, add here, you now have what? 15. 15 minus 7 is what? 8. You put your point. What is now left here? 6. 6 minus 4. 6 minus 2 is what? 4. So 4.894 is what? The answer. Very simple. Now let's look at a multiplication. All these things are easy, but you need to know them so that you can make your O-level maths in flying colors. Let's look at this question. Multiply 19.3 times 3.71. Now, in a situation like this, what do? Let me give you just one key point here again. Whenever you have a situation like this, to make it very easy, first of all, how many decimal places do we have? For 19.3, we have what? 1 decimal place. Now, for 3.71, we have how many decimal places? 1, 2. We have what? 2 decimal places. So add these 2 decimal places. What do you now have? 3 decimal what? Places. So your final answer must be what? Must have 3 decimal places. Don't forget, we have different methods, but this method, I want you to know it. This one is going to help you very fast, so that once you solve and you get your answer, you just count the decimal places and then you get your final answer. Now, because you have known how many decimal places the final answer is going to be, then what you need to do is just to multiply it in the normal way. Remove the decimal points. Now you now have 193 times 371. Normal multiplication. 3 times 1 is what? 3. 1 times 9 is what? 9. 1 times 1 is what? 1. 7 times 3 is what? 21. Write down 1, carry 2. 7 times 9, 63. Plus that 2, 65. You write 5, carry what? 6. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 6, you have what? 13. Now, 3 times 3 is what? 9. 3 times 9, 27. Write down 7, carry 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is what? 5. Now, what do? You now what? Add. Now, what do you now have? You bring down this 3. 9 plus 1 is what? 10. You write 0, carry 1. Now, 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 9 is what? 15. Plus that 1, 16. Write down 6, carry 1. 3 plus 7 is 10. Plus that 1, 11. Carry 1. Now 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus that 1 is what? 7. Very simple. Now, because you already know your decimal places, what do you now do? You just count 1, 2, 3. You put your decimal point. Your final answer is now what? 71.603. Okay? This is what? Your final answer. So things like this normally comes out in your objective question. So this is the easiest way to answer it and pass it. So this is the end of the section for decimal places. We shall be looking at significant figures in subsequent videos. Please endeavor to subscribe to this channel so that you can get more of this. Thank you.